I don't know if it's the Lord's will for me to preach, but I do feel like I need to share my testimony. It's on my heart, share my testimony. Like you say, you just don't know who it can help. I have no idea, but the Lord saved my soul when I was 11 years old at Antioch Missionary Baptist Church during the revival. Anybody's heard me say it. I know it's silly to a lot of people, but it matters to me. But the Lord saved me on July the 8th, 1990. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm very analytical. I think of things in order and numbers, and I think all those have a purpose. On the calendar, that's 7890. And I know that sounds silly, but I look back at that, and the Lord saved my soul when I was 11. I went to revival out there on Revival Sunday, and we would go out there, and Brother Tom King led singing out there. He's gone on to heaven now, but he led singing, and I'd heard the gospel preached all my life, but that day it was a testifying service, and I just remember him leading singing and tears just pouring down his face. Just pouring down his face as he would sing. And there was shouting and praising, and I realized that I did not have what those people had. And I realized that I was lost and where I was headed for. I was headed straight for hell if I didn't make it right. And don't ever take anything for granted. Don't ever take anything for granted, because I got saved on a dismissal prayer. The dismissal prayer to dismiss the service. And everybody else, I'm sure, thought everything was over. We were there for a long time, probably to 1:30, 2 o'clock that day. I was right over there. They didn't have a piano. Their piano was back here on the wall, but right there between the women corner and the first row. Couldn't find a seat. I was sitting on the floor with my back on the wall. And I guess everybody else was finished, but I was praying for the Lord to save me. And He saved me. The first time I realized I was lost, the first prayer I prayed after that I realized I was lost, the Lord saved me. And I've described it as a quiet peace came over my heart, my soul, my whole being. It was just like quietness, just a peace. There was turmoil inside. There was trouble inside. And just a quiet, He quietened everything. He quietened everything for me. If you go read Isaiah 32:17, it's a verse that speaks to my heart so much. But he talks about that the result of salvation is quietness and assurance forever. If you go read that, that speaks directly to me. I got a cousin, Chris Austin. He's 8 years older than me, and he sought the Lord. I was 11 years old, and he had been seeking the Lord for a long time. He was 19, and he still was seeking when I got saved. And immediately 11-year-old mind, I don't know, young kids, how you think, if you think like me, but 11-year-old mind, why would I get saved so quickly at 11 years old? He's supposed to get saved first. So immediately I thought, I never doubted what happened, but I doubted, it was so simple. And I knew I got peace, but I said, how could I get it so quickly when he has struggled to get it for so long? And so I didn't tell anybody. We walked out, and somebody said this other night, how can they not know when I got saved? That's what I thought at the time. I was expecting people to run to me and just see a glow or a countenance. I was like, how can they not know what just happened? And that got on me. That got on me. And I'll tell this, and that may be embarrassing for some people, but y'all know my daddy. He grew up out this way. You know my daddy, and I love my daddy. He had a lot of struggles, but he was a good man, and he was saved and had a lot of struggles. And that day, I won't tell this, and I don't mean to say it bad about him. I love him so much. But we got out of church, and we walked out, and him and his wife, Sandra, were there, and they stopped to see if I wanted to go to the lake with them. And in the back seat, he had a cooler of beer. Anybody knows my daddy? He was an addict all of his life, alcoholic all of his life. And Lord, he worked that on me too. He said, there's no way, or Satan worked that on me too. He said, there's no way on the day you got saved that something like that would happen. And so all these things just kept saying, yes, something happened, but it wasn't enough. And so I left, and nobody knew what happened, but I knew what happened. But I went for a whole year. Lord forgive me. I went for a whole year. Again, not doubting what had happened, that I got peace, but I was sort of like Peter walking on the water, I took that step of faith and I let everything else around me bother me. And then I started sinking, and when I took my eyes off the Lord, what He'd done for me. And so I went a whole year and I said, if Mama will ask me, and she beats herself up over this to this day, but I said, if Mama will ask me, I'll tell her. I'll tell her what happened. And I love to hear people say, ask the Lord for a sign. I think about Gideon, who put the fleece out, and he asked the Lord for the sign, and how the fleece was dry and the ground was wet, and then vice versa the next day the fleece was wet and the ground was dry. And I think about that, how people ask for a sign, and people say, if I'm saved, sing a song. And a lot of you have done that, and I believe that with all my heart. I believe that happened, and I believe that assured you with all of my heart. But this is a part I want to share. For me, it was a little different, because I said, if Mama will ask me, I'll tell her. And we went a whole year, and Mama never asked me. She'll say now that she saw other people come and ask me, and so she would watch them, and they say, are you lost? And I said, no, that was the truth. I'd say, no, I'm not lost, but I still was waiting for Mama. And finally, we got around to revival the next year at Fairview, third week in July. And I said, if she hadn't asked me by Friday, I'm going to tell her. And I want to share this. Mama never asked me, but that didn't change what the Lord had done for me. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't ask for a sign. That's between you and the Lord. I'm not saying nobody should do that. But I asked the Lord, and the Lord kept telling me, it doesn't matter if she ever asks you or not. I saved you. And you know it. And you know I saved you, and you just got to step out on faith and know what I've done for you, and that it's enough. And that just because Chris hadn't got saved yet doesn't mean you're not saved. Quit thinking of all these things and making excuses and not having faith to know what I have done for you. And I can remember that night in my bed. I went to bed and I said, I've got to tell her. It's Friday night, so Mama was still up, and we had a little house, 4 of us kids, and my brother and me shared a bed. My sister shared a bed, and I went in there to Mama and I told her, and I want to tell you the overwhelming joy and reassurance that came over me once I told it. And all I can tell you is, if you've been saved and you've never told it, you're worried and you're concerned, I trust God that if you will tell what the Lord's done for you, if it's not right, He'll let you know that. And He'll bring trouble on you. But if it is right, and if it is what's happened, He will give you assurance and peace. Because that's what He did for me. It's what He did for me. I thank God for saving me. I thank God that I got it. I don't know why. I struggled with it took a lot longer for me on my call to preach. I was called to preach, and I ran for 8 years. And Ben, I love so much what he said. He said he'd rather preach. That's how I feel every time. It's a struggle for me, but ran for 8 years. Brother Kevin, it's natural for somebody like him and others. I see it's natural. And, I won public speaking events all my life, state 4-H public speaking. I spoke all my life, but this is different. And I was scared to death of doing it, knowing that I was not worthy. But I don't know why He saved me the first time, but He did, and I thank Him for it. I just beg anybody here to just have faith. You got to have faith. You got to have faith, and you got to take that first step. He said I did the devotional today at Dory Me, and we got out here at 2 o'clock in the morning. Some of y'all know, and I went home, and I was tired, and tried to pray about what I needed to speak about down there, and God will always, they sung a song down there called God Delivers Again, and He always does. And He brought to my heart what I've already said, the story about Peter and walking on the water. And that story, the story, but Peter says, Lord, if it's you, bid me to come to you on the water. And that's a lot of us will say, Lord, I'll do anything you want me to do. And what did the Lord say to him? He just said, come. The Lord said, come. And Peter takes that first step of faith, and then again, he starts doubting everything around him. He starts sinking, taking his eyes off the Lord. I just beg you, if you've been saved, think you've been saved, trust in Him, and He'll let you know. He will let you know. Y'all follow the Lord. If the Lord puts it on me to preach, I will. Right now, I just want to thank Him for saving my soul.